챔피언 바꾸고 싶으면 바꿔도 된대.
아 그래요? 아니 근데 어떻게 집 가려고 하는 타이밍에 불기둥이 따고냐 뒤에서? 아 이거 말하면 안 되는데? 아 뭐야? 아 리신 벤? 아 나 리신 픽인 줄 알고 했는데 벤이었어. 아니 잠깐만.
도인비?
연비?
FEX
네.
말파이. 우와.
Yeah, what is the Malphite strategy?
이제 평타 집공 말파로 위치엔드 간 다음에 라칸디를 무효화 시키면서 나는 이제 박수 치면서 때린다.
아,
박수 말파이트에 이거.
shit. I only have a MR.
My man got the hard counter. That's insane.
this?
He has the anti-recon strategy.
My strategy is I'm gonna buy a Fisher mask
Oh my god.
and then farming for
We're
late
going
game.
to sudden death again.
Farming for 100
It's
CS.
gonna be farming.
아프지?
아 뭐야 잠깐만. 아,
Movement
너무
speed
아픈데?
coming for a clap.
This seems pretty doomed.
Hey, hold on.
Oh, he's fast. Wait.
Where are you going? Okay.
You can recall.
어? 게이드? 잠깐.
Where's your ulti? 궁극기 어디 갔어?
아니 이게 왜 죽어?
라칸 너무 세죠? A Fisher mask
Alright, he has Within now.
Core, what's the stopwatch for?
for deathmatch.
Oh my god.
I'm already planning for it.
That's not gonna happen.
Oh, it's so tight.
All right, good luck. No, it's coming. No, it's coming.
close.
You don't want to do it.
Please please.
Oh no!
He'll make it.
Okay, okay, okay.
Think.
Run! Run!
Oh, three more goals. It actually is encroaching quickly.
Oh, he's mauling him.
No way.
Wow. Oh! Stopwatch! Alright. Thank you both so much. 감사합니다.
Thank you, thank you.
Alright, I did not believe in the Rakan core.
Yeah.
You proved all of us wrong. Do you guys have anything final to say to each other?
If I picked the IG Rakan last game, I might lost, but luckily, I picked the better skin.
Alright. Thank you both so much. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to put too much pressure on him, so I want to be a bit careful here, but I think he is almost certainly the best top laner in the LCS. I'd be highly surprised if he's not the best player in the LCS. I don't think the league is ready for Rich.
Welcome back. When I heard that, I thought he was trolling.
It was a little much at the time.
I thought it was a little much too, but now that we've watched 6 games of Rich, I actually think he might have understated his case. Rich might be the best player in the world.
I always believed because I saw him in LPL, you know?
So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some Twitch.
Where the
Rich
hell am
gameplay.
I? Like, he just said the wildest shit. I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna convince you. You're
Okay.
a hater.
Yeah.
Watch Rich in these
They
places
won
we go.
3 of 4 because of Rich. Raz.
Look at this.
that.
Look at that
Whoa.
4-man Q. 4-man Q3. Raz.
Well, he's a good Cassante. I'll give him
Everyone
that.
is just. That's it.
Look at him here.
Okay, you're blocking
Kind of
your own
my bad.
replay.
I'll let this one ride out a little
I
bit.
appreciate that.
But
I
look-
mean, does
Okay.
he win this?
Does it matter? Oh wait.
Okay.
Okay.
Does matter.
fine.
Let's just.
There, I mean,
Don't watch that one.
Yeah.
there's levels to things.
Oh, we're gonna show this one.
What is this?
We're gonna show this
This
one.
is a rich solo kill.
Yeah.
He literally ended.
Whoa, he killed him.
This was Fudge running it.
It's so good, dude. I mean, this is
Okay,
actually
he's
good.
popping
Yeah,
off
this
here.
is.
We'll take it, but thank
Yeah,
God.
and he
moved
can
on.
play more than just Cassante.
Look at this.
Raz's
Wait.
criticism was
700
he was a
gold.
Cassante one
I'm
trick.
seeing Tomo win them the fight, personally.
Watch this fight. Tomo's dead.
Yeah.
Who wins the fight?
Rich does.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at this.
I will say this: Dignitas without him, last split 3-15. They already have the same number of wins
True.
with him in 2 weeks.
Stats
Raz.
don't lie,
Look,
Raz.
I give him the credit too. I think he is a good top laner. I agree with that. But what did you say? You said he was
mean-
the best top laner in the league.
I
I said
didn't
he
even
was-
say this, but a lot of people call him Hots Faker. So,
I would say he's also just more than the best top laner in the league. He's the best player in the league. James,
Okay, that's
like James
disgusting.
Baker said.
We literally were just talking
who's
about
playing
MVP.
better?
from here.
Who's playing better? And don't
Oh.
say Jojo Pune just because he's on the screen.
Yeah, I think I just saw JoJo Pin.
Okay, this was huge.
This was
Yeah,
hilarious.
This was sick.
He kills Summit. Summit TP's back and just kills him again.
That's the Showmaker meme right
Oh.
there.
More
Look at
Quinn.
that.
Oh,
Yeah, the
Cassante!
Quinn.
Look at all these Quinn plays.
Yeah.
Also, I will say in this game, there was a lot of troll stuff happening around him. Santorin did not make his lane easy.
True.
And
Yeah.
Rich came back and actually played Quinn in the late game pretty well.
It's true. I mean, also you have to remember when you're playing against such greatness,
What?
he's gonna have.
What is
he's
this?
gonna draw a lot of attention. It's Rich.
It's,
Oh, this is disgusting.
It's a Rich clip. This is
the
a
goat.
Rich montage.
It's the goat.
Who made
It's
this
the goat.
montage?
It's the goatest goat that
It's
ever
Cassante.
goated.
You
I
said you
need
can only play
answers.
Cassante, so did you notice a difference in that Cassante
I just
game?
saw
You
him
didn't even
die.
see a difference.
I just
it
saw
looked
him
the
die.
same to me.
Who
Okay.
put the deaths in this clip?
Well,
Yeah,
it's a sampling
this
of
montage
Rich.
come
It's an
from?
honest sampling
Look
of
at
Rich.
that.
It's
Wait,
not
this
just
was
the
the
highlights.
that
Wait,
was
these
the
are
other
out of
kill.
order.
This is all Rich.
It's all, everything involving Rich.
Yes.
It's like an adventure every time. And he's dead again. So what are we saying here? Who's the one that have to defend
Tell me
himself
who
Look at
didn't
this.
die in the
Here's another
LCS.
solo kill.
Yeah.
when he was already fed? I'm sorry, like.
Already fed. He's
Yeah.
got one item.
He's up 10 CS.
And one kill over him.
And who got that
Look
lead
at
for
that.
him? Rich.
Yeah, there was no jungle interference, so he's better than Fudge. If he
Raz-
solo kills Fudge twice,
Yeah.
he's better than him.
I can't believe you're not convinced, Brad.
Like
I'm convinced he's a good player, a great player.
every
didn't you
great
watch him on V5?
Raz,
Is
every
he not-
great
Sorry.
every great human in history has to deal with haters who aren't ready for greatness.
And
I
adversity.
understand that that is your position, but you're wrong.
I'm not a hater.
Is
I
he the
just
best
want
top laner in the LCS?
No.
Then you're a hater.
Okay.
That's the definition.
Unbelievable.
All right, we'll see if he can come up with anything else
Hot
to try
faker.
and convince
Hot fake.
Rince Raz that Rich is the best. As we go, though, let's send it over to the casters, introducing
Don't
another
Raz.
visitor from the NA Challenger broadcast.
Raz, I swear to God.
You know, Rafa, I feel like things are going really well right now. It was supposed to be LCS fresh, and I feel like we're really getting there, but there's just something missing. Like, I just feel like we really can turn the freshness up to 11. I don't know, man. Like, outfits. Yeah, I think if we turn the outfits up, I think we'll really get there.
Fresh fits. Hey, I think I know a guy.
What's up?
So, what do you think?
Yeah, just go cast the game.
Hello, and welcome in. It's my first time here on the LCS desk, and I'm joined in by Azael. I am so happy to be here. Thank you all for having me.
I was partial to the duck outfit personally.
That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, just putting it out
They
there.
told me it would be hard to hear my voice with a duck mask on, so I was told no. I pushed for that one really hard. Too.
It is the downside. It is the downside. Well, welcome. It's great to have you here.
you,
We're
thank you.
continuing the proud tradition of all the NACL guys coming up and having their first cast with me.
I was about to say, literally everyone who's a player Play by
every
Play
single
has
one.
casted with you, so I feel honored to be amongst them that gets to cast with you, especially as we get into our fourth game of the day. 100 Thieves, Dignitas. Both teams have had a bit of stumbles going through this, but as the desk was kind of talking about, I really got my eyes on Rich when I look at Dignitas and how they've gotten a lot of their wins so far.
Absolutely. I think Rich has been incredible, and I can confirm that Raz is in fact a hater. Rich has been tearing it up in the top lane, has been looking really, really good. But across the table on the other side, for 100 Thieves, I think a lot of the questions are going to be around Quid. Yes, Doublelift I think has been a standout player for them, but it hasn't really been working because the rest of the team hasn't been stepping up around him. I think the bot lane has been fine. Quid obviously did join late. He didn't have those preseason scrims with him. They had to play week 1 with Nuke Duck, so those things are kind of working against them. But now that he has been able to have a little bit of time to settle in, I want to start to evaluate Quid a little bit more harshly, in this second week with the team.
Yeah, I'm glad you kind of talked about that because I think that's one thing that I held reservations on being too critical with Quid on for that exact reason. First week, just coming in, new team, new environment, new culture, everything about that. But this is going to be our second week that we get to see how he can play. And this time, it looks like with the bans that we have, a lot of the static shiv abusers like LeBlanc taken off of the board and going back to that Azir that they pretty much played most of the time last week.
Yeah, this is one of his most played. He has played 3 different champions so far. He did play the Azir, the Nico, and the Ahri last week. That Azir game, if I recall correctly, was his first one against EG,
1 and 8,
where he was absolutely ran by Jojo and Armeo. That was a tough entrance into the league, but Quid going to be looking to have a bit of a better performance here. In that game, also, Doublelift was on Ashe. He was playing more of that supportive pick, and that's just not really been the style that Doublelift has dominated the league in throughout his career. He's always been more on those hyper carries. Will they build that around him? With double frontline here, you almost feel like it's pretty guaranteed that Doublelift is going to be on a carry as well. I don't think you're going to have Quid as that solo carry. So we'll have to see what Dignitas wants to cook up on the other side because they already have Maokai, they already have Renekton, so jungle top has been drafted through here. Jensen has the ability to match roles unless they want to grab something up, potentially like Emilio, that is pretty high prio and hasn't been picked.
No, and looking at what has been picked, honestly, even looking at the bans, we see a lot of these things that have been really powerful, such as that Sejuani, the Ssumday, Jayce, making it through those first round of bans that we've been seeing throughout the entire day even, that they've normally been benched right out of the gate. So having Jensen go on to Jayce here with the Renekton already picked for Rich, another new look also, because we were talking about how good is Rich off of Ssumday? How does he look when he's not just playing Ssumday every single game?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think he's had some strong games off of it already, but this is going to be another new look for him, just as you're saying. But I also have to say, this is a bit of a different look for Jensen. He has played it 4 times in his career, but that is not a lot
for
at
his
all.
Career?
Yeah, for his entire career. He has really been always that control mage guy. He's not usually someone that actually plays a lot of these physical damage mids. He doesn't play ADs mids. He's not someone who looks towards a lot of the melee kind of physical assassins in mid either. So this is really different from Dignitas. Pretty unexpected for me and very early game, mid game focused with those first 3 picks. So we'll have to see where Tomo and Diamond are going to take us with the final 2 picks for the bot lane. But a pretty unexpected draft, I have to say, for Dignitas. And it makes me feel like maybe they want to try to pressure heavily towards Quid. If they feel that he is a weak spot 400 Thieves, Jensen on this Jayce with that powerful ganking coming in from Santorin on the Maokai could really look to punish him.
And I'm really curious to see what Diamond's going to pick here, because I think that also is going to be something that will really indicate how Dignitas want to play this game. Because whenever I think of Diamond, I think of a lot of those engagers. His Thresh is one of the first things that comes to my mind, but the Rakan that they banned away themselves is also another one of those picks that he loves to play. So what they want to do is hold on to the last pick for him, and I think that's actually really important here, looking at, like we were talking about, how they're going to attack this entire map.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you grab away a priority AD here in the Varus. You look for support counterpick on 5 here on Dignitas to try to get that 2v2 advantage for yourselves in the bottom lane. And we'll see what Dignitas can get from this. Again, 100 Thieves, I think their strong point really has been the bottom lane. Somebody had a great game 1, starting off the split pretty early on against FlyQuest it was on his Renekton, but besides that, I think the top side of the map has been pretty quiet. Closer not really playing to his standard. The mid lane was a sub, now Quid joining in. So it's going to be Nautilus, and we'll see where they want to go. Is it going to be Xayah, which we've seen a tremendous amount
be
about?
The Xayah here. And Xayah Nautilus, when we think back to how powerful that duo has been in the past, that's why it kind of sticks out in my mind, but they don't actually opt for that.
Yep.
They opt for a little bit extra safety for Doublelift.
Exactly, and Doublelift, usually is one of those guys that wants to have agency, wants to have the ability to make plays on his own to try to make things happen. There is a tremendous amount of aggression that could be coming out from this Dignitas team. You look at Maokai, you look at Renekton, Jayce even, and a potential of a hard engaged support. That is a lot of die that would be coming towards Doublelift there, and with Cleanse, with that Xayah, potentially can keep himself safe. You called out Diamond being one of those engaged support players. It is going to be the Leona, and that is a pretty deadly duo down in the bottom lane. If you can lock someone down, you hit them with the initial stuns from the Leona, you're guaranteeing the follow-up, the chains of corruption, the piercing arrow, everything can come through from that Varus. And you have to remember, there's also Jayce looking for shock blasts on top of that, so it's going to be really dangerous if you can lock down one of those squishy targets. But that being said, there are 3 beefy frontliners to stand in front of the Azir and the Xayah.
Yeah, I mean, you got a Sejuani, you got a Nautilus, you got a Ssumday. All of them can absorb a lot of that poke, especially when we look at Jensen. Tomo, we're expecting that static shiv rush, go for more of the AP build, has that burst potential, but like you said, it's onto the 2 members. It's onto Quid and Doublelift. So it's going to be really important looking at 100 Thieves and how they can utilize those frontline tools to deny the early poke that Dignitas is going to have, especially when we look at Jensen.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see how that's going to work out. And I also want to track some of these Dignitas members who I think have not been playing up to their level. Santorin, I don't think has been on point so far this split, and neither has Diamond. Diamond talked in his interview after a win last week about how it has been a big adjustment coming up to the LCS because it has been a big jump in competition. These bot lanes that he's playing against are on a different level.
Yes.
And he is finding that there's things that he could get away with in NACL that he could not on the LCS stage. So he's trying to make those adjustments. We'll see if he's been able to do that here coming into week 3 to kick things off for Dignitas.
All right, I hope you're all ready for 100 Thieves versus Dignitas. They have loaded up onto the Rift, ready to rumble it out. The early game, the poke coming in from Dignitas. You got that scaling on the side for 100 Thieves, the beefy front line, the late game scaling of Xayah and Azir. Which one will win it out? Azael, the moment, everyone going for the typical line of scrimmage, nothing too fanciful from either side.
Yeah, nothing crazy with the level 1s just yet. We'll see if anyone wants to look for any sort of a deep ward. Closer moving in a little bit, we'll get a ward down on the enemy red. So we'll have a good idea of what's happening there as Diamond is stepping forward here with Jensen, with Tomo. They do have a really strong level 1. It is Hail of Blades here on the Varus. We did see lethal tempo go into AP earlier from Unforgiven. We were talking about that back in the green room. Generally when you see lethal tempo, it is more the AD on hit, and Hail of Blades is more common with the AP, but of course you can go either route.
I feel like static shiv is just so strong right now on Varus that it's like, why go anything else at the moment? Not at least until 13-13 when that's going to be unfortunately gutted.
Or fortunately,
depending on how you look.
Yeah, depending on
as a cheeser myself, I'm looking at that as unfortunate, but it's all the same.
I'm over it. Static shiv has been in enough games.
Yeah, you know what? I gotta agree with you on that one. As bot lane, Diamond is kind of looking at that one. Same with Busio. Both of them coming up through the Academy/Challenger scene. Now meeting here on the Rift against one another. We're getting a little bit of poke back onto Busio. Busio should throw a lot of that back onto Diamond as well with Doublelift.
Yeah, pretty evenly traded back and forth there. Both supports will have to pop their first potion here. Doublelift hitting the wave pretty aggressively. Does have a little bit of a lead in the push right now. So the push will definitely go to 100 Thieves at level 1. We'll see if they can make anything of that. But meanwhile, in mid lane, I really want to keep an eye on Jensen and see how he's going to perform in this Jayce. Again, this is not a champion I really associate with him at all.
No.
So he has to be able to perform well. He has to be able to showcase that he can play this playstyle, that he can adapt to what he believes is strong. Clearly he's thinking this is going to be a strong matchup in the Azir. We saw one of the more commonly considered strong matchups in Azir earlier today. Jojo Pyun bringing out the Yone, which is really, really very difficult for Azir to deal with in 1v1. Jayce, can cause problems for Azir as well, though.
But I'm still looking at Santorin. You kind of called it out. Santorin hasn't really had the best performance that we'd really like to see out of him. And now on something like a Maokai, when I think of Santorin, when I watch all the games back from, and I've watched League of Legends since 2012. He is a controlled jungler. And having something like Maokai, I look at the control, ooh, though, Rich. That was a little risky right there.
Yeah, he actually got caught. He goes in with the slice. He got caught by the Pathmaker there and pushed back into the turret, so immediately did have to flash out. Rich, a little bit of an error, but more of a good play there from Ssumday. But as you say, yeah, Santorin is that control-based jungler. You know, he is more of a supportive style guy. 100 Thieves, though, looking for the invade.
And I like that from 100 Thieves. They look at the guy who's wanting to control, especially on Maokai. Letting a Maokai get control over you is oppressive. It feels suffocating to play against that because his saplings can get so much control over you. So Closer, Busio, Doublelift, not really letting that happen. They don't want to have that point when this Maokai has full control of the bottom side of the river.
Yeah, it is just kind of setting up to be a 2v2 right now. This is reset multiple times, though, so I think Closer now just going to go back, take the scuttle here, and Santorin will be able to secure his blue buff and continue onward. So a little bit of pressure applied, not too much gained. Potentially a couple minions were denied to the Varus as he had to move up while that wave was pushing towards him. So now the wave is bouncing back towards Doublelift. Tomo's up 1 CS right now, but as you can see, there's a good 3 or 4 extra minions for Doublelift to farm. So things looking pretty good. 400 Thieves, but of course very even overall.
Yeah, and I would imagine Closer will eventually be the benefactor of that. Can go to the top half of the map, get that scuttle crab, double scuttle Santorin, so he can't have the control of the river. In fact, there it is, pathing right towards that one. Won't be able to make that play onto Rich onto the top side because it has been warded out pretty heavily.
Oh, I actually like this even more. Just going to go for the Raptors here. Take this away on spawn. He had the information as Jensen's getting pretty aggressive here. Doesn't know that Closer's there. Yeah, I mean, Closer could look for a flash over the wall and potentially kill him if he's doesn't base here. You know, this is a potential dive angle. I think he's going to go for it if he has the Q up.
Way too close. There it is. Flash. The flash away, though. Jensen's going to survive and got a little bit of damage back onto Closer.
Yeah, if that final turret shot actually came through, Closer probably would have died.
Yeah.
So Jensen does survive. Rich pushing forward, looking for that demolish proc, does get it, but you always have to be respectful of Ssumday, especially when the Intofo strikes are actually charged up there. As Diamond's going to look for an engage.
Looking for a little bit of poke back onto Busio, getting the flash out of him as well. Big plays there for Dignitas, though it was the ghost burned by Tomo. Going back to the top lane, Rich, Ssumday skirmishing just a little bit. Both of them wanting to get that edge. And we talked about Rich looking at how he can play on things that aren't Ssumday. Well, Ssumday, a play that we've seen many a time here in the LCS, hasn't really had that big performance like he did when he initially joined in the LCS, especially with 100 Thieves back in the day. And I want to see how he can really bring this power to Rich, how he can perform in this matchup to kind of prove, hey, I've been here before. I am the one that you still need to look at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Ssumday throughout his career has always been a really good laner, you know, even when things aren't working as well for him outside of lane. You know, I think he's always been really solid there. So it is kind of a good barometer for Rich. You know, if you can take down Ssumday in lane, things are going to be looking pretty good. We'll see if Ssumday can kind of extend any sort of an advantage to the team fights, though, whereas you know, that's really where Ssumday, I think, you know, is looking to get things done. That's where you're going to have the big advantage kind of over the Renekton, is you do really outscale. You have more effective team fighting if you can really pull it off. So we'll have to see if Ssumday can do that. But thus far, pretty slow early game.
Yeah, I mean, if we've watched any of the LCS this summer, this has been typical 100 Thieves gameplay. Slow early game, waiting until about 8-9 minutes into the game. That's when they really have their first plays that really work out. We saw an attempt there from Closer in the mid lane. Was able to at least get the flash from Jensen, but didn't net an actual kill.
Yeah, I wasn't able to net a kill, and that has been one of the differences, I think, between 100 Thieves this year and sometimes 100 Thieves in the past, is that Closer had been more on playmakers, have been looking more aggressive. Oh, Ssumday gonna go all out.
Has the dominance, but Rich taking a lot of damage. Gonna get the call to make. He's so low. One more auto. Ssumday, he'll pick up first blood against Rich.
Nicely done by Ssumday, again, knocking him back into the turret, uses the Pathmaker, pulls it back towards the turret, finds the angle for the all-out. Rich having to pop his ulti as well. But Ssumday getting the better of him here. The Intofo strikes getting stacked up. Again, it's just a buffer on the Pathmaker there. So well done. Pulls him back in. Then the slice and dice back from Rich, trying to escape. He doesn't have the E to create any space, though, afterwards, as the All-Out have been used to pull him back towards the turret again. Ssumday just played that really well. And that is why you have to be so respectful of Ssumday when you get close to the turret, because of the flip in, you know, with that third Q on the Intofo strikes as well as the All-Out and the Pathmaker. There's 3 ways to displace your character on this kit. And that could get you in a lot of trouble.
Ssumday also proving that he's still very powerful in that lane phase, that it's hard to go against him. Rich suffering for it, which means you look at the rest of the map. Closer's getting a lot of freedom in the bot lane, because bot lane actually has gotten control too for 100 Thieves. They're starting to win out in pretty much every one of these lanes, but Dignitas just don't seem like they have the answers quite yet for.
Yeah, not just yet. We'll see what they can get done as we go on, though. Jensen, is going for, obviously, the tier here, looking to scale potentially. Busio has no flash. They're going to look for it.
Flash in, a lot of damage to the pullback. Got to be careful. But Busio, he is getting burst down by Tomo.
Nicely done by the Dignitas bot lane there. Diamond commits the flash. He locks him up. It guarantees the ulti. It guarantees the skill shots coming through there for Tomo. They know Busio was missing that flash, so they can secure themselves a kill. That's that combo I was talking about in draft. It is something that is very, very dangerous. And it's going to be that first kill in that 2v2 going to Dignitas and going to Tomo.
And you talked about having the big beefy front lines, with Nautilus being one of them. Early game, that ain't the case.
Yeah.
He's a very squishy champion, but bot lane, Doublelift and Tomo are fighting it out. There's no flash. You got to get the damage. The flash in from Doublelift. What a play to take down Tomo.
Nicely done by Doublelift. The GOAT making it happen in the bot lane. Popping the ghost there, Tomo was trying to create space, but Doublelift found the angle. Tomo needed to kite back away from those feathers. He gave Doublelift the ability to look for that flash blade caller to pull it back to get the root and the damage. It's a solo kill in the bot lane for Doublelift, not something you see very often from these AD carries.
And he took full advantage that there was no chain of corruptions there for Tomo. The flash ghost already had been popped before to get the kill on a Busio. So he's like, hey, I can win this 1v1 pretty easily.
Yeah, went aggressive, found his opportunity, is able to take him down and get one back. It was really well played there by Doublelift. You can see Quid going towards Crown of the Shattered Queen, so going very defensive here with that first buy, trying to keep himself safe. Can be pretty powerful. I know a lot of people don't really love it against poke comps, but
it's so good against poke comps, though.
It can be.
For that first poke, that if it does somehow skate its way through these beefy front lines, I think that's really what it's for.
Yeah.
Because you have that front line you were talking about, the Ssumday, the Sejuani, to absorb a lot of that poke in the first place. But we take a look at this bot lane play. Oh, actually, the Ghost and Flash hadn't been quite used by Tomo just yet.
Yep, exactly. He does flash out early. He looks for the Ghost. I think he needed to pull backwards, though. His mistake to me here is he needs to flash back, Ghost, and run along the wall, right? And just go straight back, because then he wouldn't have the angle for the feathers. We actually swapped back to this point of view a little bit too late, as Doublelift had already used the flash there, and the E pulling in to get that root was really nicely done, but forces both the summoners, uses his ult, trades out his flash, gets the kill. Beautifully done there by Doublelift, but a little bit of scuffle here potentially.
Not sure if that went to it. Went to Santorin barely.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, back to the poke point. To me, it's just about the repeatability of the poke, right? If there's like high damage poke that isn't going to be coming out a lot, I think Crown can be fine, kind of to your point. I think that's what you mean.
Yeah.
If it's something like Corki, though, that has a really repeatable poke, then it's going to be poked off constantly. Or Ashe, that's going to be able to volley it off. Yes, if you block an empowered shock blast, there's definitely value to that. But at the same time, there is a lot of pressure on both you and Doublelift to be getting damage done here in this composition. You have 3 engaged champions, you have 3 frontliners around you, and I do think sometimes you have to be able to trust that they're going to be able to keep you safe and that your positioning is going to be able to keep you safe. But we will see, if it does pay off or not. Rich skirmishing here with Ssumday, who's going to catch him again with the sun against the wall.
But dodged away from the whirlwind that time around, so not pulled back, didn't have to worry about a potential flash all out underneath the turret, like maybe not exactly the last time, but very similar.
Yeah, very similar for sure. He's been really catching him with the W buffers. Ssumday has been doing a really good job with that Pathmaker, anticipating when that stun is going to come through from the Renekton, buffering that out, pulling him back into really uncomfortable positions and trying to create something from that. The Shiv going to be coming up here relatively soon from Tomo, but Doublelift has already completed his Kraken Slayer. So straight towards the Kraken Slayer rush, Kraken into Gale Force becoming really, really common. You do see people go into Bori. There's other options as well, but Gale Force is just so incredibly popular at the pro level. When you're using that ability at the highest level, it just gains so much. It's got utility.
Oh, Jensen tagged by the Glacial Prison and pulled back in. Tried to flash. Nice move there from Jensen to get out of dodge.
Yeah, it goes to the skies, jumps over the wall, and then just uses that flash to create some space. Jensen has been pressured pretty heavily in this mid lane. A couple of gank attempts have come his way. This time does have to blow a flash, and it's not in trade for a flash. So I want to see Dignitas trying to defend Jensen around this flash timer, because there's going to be very likely a repeat gank coming through from 100 Thieves. As soon as the ultis are back up, it should be pretty much free if you're not standing behind Jensen and actually defending him. So you need to track these your ulti timer and make sure you're keeping your mid laner safe.
As right now, Quid getting a lot of pressure on a Jensen. That's the 4th place plate that has been taken here in mid lane by Quid and 100 Thieves. Jensen has been heavily pressured in this mid lane and really hasn't been able to do too much to alleviate that pressure himself.
Yeah.
This is where you kind of were talking about Dignitas. Where are they going to really start having Santorin make that play, utilize the power that Maokai has in control?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be kind of the inverse of what we've seen so far this game. I thought it was going to be Maokai playing around mid lane, Jayce being able to go melee for him to look for these aggressive trades onto the Azir. Because if you are just sitting back and farming in range, which is basically what Jensen has had to do this game, the Azir is going to slowly poke you down, right? And Santorin has not been able to find really any angles to get anything done, but does have the Even Shroud completed now, so does have that support Mythic. That's completed. You can see Goredrinker completed on top side, Duskblade completed in mid lane, Shiv completed in bot lane, so all of the items now coming through here for Dignitas, and we'll see what they can get done with it, as they have already secured 1 dragon. Not exactly the fastest one, but the second one going to be up here in a minute and a half, and we'll see if they want to continue stacking.
Dignitas, I'm still waiting for these mid-game plays that they have that power for, and I'm glad you called out the fact they are completing a lot of these items. These are big power points for Dignitas that they need to start attacking 100 Thieves with, because if they don't, if they allow this game to continue to be middled out right now, that's only going to favor 100 Thieves. They've got a composition that loves this, that just want to play passively. An Azir scaling up, a Xayah scaling up, get your Ssumday and Sejuani to that beefy frontline status. This is perfect for 100 Thieves, but Dignitas, you have to put the pressure on. You're going to have to be the ones that find these plays. I feel like it is going to be through Diamond and Santorin tagging up.
Yeah, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. They do want to play with control towards these neutral objectives. I do think their comp is really strong when they're the first one set up around Herald, first one set up around Dragon. You talked earlier about how annoying it is playing into these Maokai saplings. That can be difficult. Yes. But also, when you're walking through these small corridors in towards objectives, it's easy setup for the Jayce, for the Varus to be able to poke you down prior to those fights and then make your job really difficult here. Dignitas, you can see, trying to defend that vision line. Santorin and Diamond hesitant to walk away. They know they're going to lose the pink ward now, though, as Jensen is heading down towards bot lane, where it's Ssumday working on that tower.
Just trying to match him at the point. He's the one that has CP, even though Rich does as well. He's matched up with Quid in the top lane, and having those two matched up, that is not going to work out for you, Dignitas. And you can see the pressure that 100 Thieves are getting from it. Quid's getting a lot of damage onto that tower, and even having the mid lane already roamed here into the top side. That's going to be Ripped Hero, picked up by 100 Thieves, but it will be traded by the second dragon of Dignitas.
Yeah, they're looking for a dive here potentially on top side, though. You can see the base just got canceled by Rich. He was recalling on the map. Busio showed up. They made him cancel that recall. Not going to be able to stop this one. I thought Quid would have been able to delay him at least one more time, but it seems like they're happy to let him go. Just going to try to take down that tower. Should be going down pretty easily here for Quid now. So yes, they do get the dragon on the bottom side, but it's not really an even trade because you're losing the turret, you're losing the Herald. Mid lane tier 1 is low, bot lane tier 1 is low. So it's a very easy play here. 400 Thieves in these next couple minutes. Go to one lane, drop the Herald, that tower's gone. Go to the next lane, knock it down. I mean, Doublelift's going to kill this for free, so you can get the 3 outers here within the next couple minutes if you want and really explode this gold lead.
Yeah, it goes from about 1,500. We're already seeing that it's nearly it's more than doubled that for 100 Thieves. Go bot lane, exactly as you said, another 500 gold in their pockets. They're going to feel really rich after that point. And Dignitas, again, where are you going to attack? You've got to start doing something, because if you're just keeping a passenger in this game, 100 Thieves are going to outscale you, and already they're starting to out economy you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they are definitely being a little bit too passive, I think, in this game. We'll see. When they hit their spikes, if they hit 2 items, maybe that's where they're going to be looking to fight. And we'll have to kind of judge. We haven't had a first major team fight, but when you are this far down, if you lose that first team fight, it can look really, really difficult from there. Jensen happy to play through sides, but I do think part of the problem thus far has been Rich fell behind early. Yeah. He has been one of their guys who is one of the more proactive players, who is one of the more aggressive players, who can be a playmaker for Dignitas. And with him behind, he's been kind of relegated to this role where he's been stuck under tower a lot of time. There's the Herald bot as expected.
More gold.
So another one going to go down here. Ssumday could look for Jensen. Jensen knows it, so he's going to have to back off.
No, there were a couple members of Dignitas top lane, so could have been a little bit wary, but the bigger thing is the fact that second charge goes through for 100 Thieves. They're going to take that tier 2 in the bot lane. That is a huge... I thought it was a big swing of gold already for 100 Thieves, and they just made that even worse.
Yeah, I mean, Dignitas are just kind of rolling over right now. I feel like they're giving up so much, they're not really willing to fight for anything, and the problem is by the time they actually look to stand and fight, they're going to be down full item completions, right? They're going to be on 1 in pieces, and Dignitas, you know, it's going to be in a really difficult spot if 100 Thieves already finished their second item when they're, you know, not on that completion. So now it's kind of in this awkward spot where I feel like you get relegated to waiting for your full second item completion and hoping that you have 2 items before your opponents have 3, because obviously the second items are going to come through a lot faster for your opponents.
And we're already seeing Nashor's Tooth there for Quid. I've actually seen rumblings of this build from Azir for a while. I've kind of been waiting to see someone pull it out on the LCS stage, where it's the crown into the Nashor's Tooth, because you're going for the W max anyways. This is going to get a lot of DPS utilizing that, as well as that extra bit of safety. We were looking at Jensen, looking at Tomo, a lot of the poke they have with that. Well, now you have even more that you can do as Quid without that fear of getting bursted down so quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's playing Conqueror, so, you know, it is more commonly that kind of on-hit style of Azir when you are playing with the Conqueror. He's not going Comet for lane. Nice little shifting stands. They're going to be able to dodge away from the ulti by Diamond, but you kind of have to respect the fact that he's going to be able to dodge that. And I feel like Dignitas starting to look a little bit desperate here, as they know they are falling really far behind. Yes, they have these couple dragons. My expectation is, with this being such a powerful soul, the Hextech Soul, they're going to show up to 3rd dragon. 100 Thieves are going to fight them. And if Dignitas lose that one, it's pretty much lights out.
Yeah, it's over at that point. You're already down 4,500 gold. It's 19 minutes into the game, and 100 Thieves are just taking everything away from Dignitas. They're entering their jungle and saying, this is now our real estate. We own all of this.
Yeah, absolutely, and that becomes really difficult if you give up that upper quadrant. You know, you can see all the vision that's actually been placed down in this area. All these wards that are trying to be cleared out here by Santorin. You lose that 3rd quadrant of the map, the gold lead is just going to extend. You're going to be getting more and more of that jungle income. Santorin's going to start getting starved, and that can be a really difficult place to be in. You can see, despite the farm actually being pretty even between the mid layers, there's even a bounty on Quid, which means over these last couple of minutes, he has actually gained a lot more farm than his opponent. Is generally how that works. There's 100 Thieves now in the area, 1 minute to Dragon. I think that's kind of what we're targeting, is Dignitas have just really seeded everything. So there's been no reason for 100 Thieves to try to fight.
No,
and Dignitas haven't been trying to look for anything of their own either.
If you're 100 Thieves, why bother fighting Dignitas at the moment? You're like, all right, cool. We're getting all this gold from you. We've owned the real estate of your jungle. We've repossessed that from you. That is now ours. You don't get that. And then even right there, Dignitas tried to steal from the Barons themselves, and they're like, no, this is our territory. You don't dare come into our territory. That's why they have to force fight Dignitas. This just looks a little late, because Diamond's getting bursted down. He has to flash away. But look at the damage they got on the back line. Tomo had to flash away as well. Still going to survive with the TP coming in from Rich, but he had to slice and dice away. Dignitas attempted to start something, but unfortunately, it just didn't amount to much.
Yeah, I tried to look for that engage. It was just, at the end of the day, trade of summoners really back and forth. They got double sums off of Tomo, and that's a lot worse for Dignitas. It's going to make it difficult for them to enter. They're also down 3 of their major ultimates here. 100 Thieves going to be on this dragon. Dignitas may just have to give this up, but it doesn't feel like they have the positioning to fight for it.
Well, keep in mind, it is the Hextech Rift, and Diamond's already back on the field. It's down low, but look at Busio on the other side. That's the Hex Gate a little bit too late from Diamond. They got a lot of damage on to Doublelift, and Rich wants to re-engage, but Ssumday keeping him at bay, but they burst down Busio as Rich got a little bit of attention coming in from 100 Thieves, looking for his way back into the fight. 4v5. Closer's going to be the target, but he dashes away, and look at Diamond. He's got the flank. Hextech over the wall, but it's absorbed by Ssumday with the sun coming on to 1. They've got the Feather Storm, but Doublelift barely survives back to the turret. Only the 1 casualty. 100 Thieves still get the dragon.
Doublelift really fast fingers on that Feather Storm as they flashed in. He had no cleanse, so he had to be on point with it. Ssumday now looking to try to turn things around. Has Diamond stepped too far?
A little bit too far, but maybe they wanted to bait that win in because they got a lot of damage, and they found the poke onto Quid. All out onto Rich, but Rich gonna die to Ssumday as they look for the poke onto Doublelift. It will be traded 2 for 2 at the moment with Busio back on the Rift. Dignitas, probably the best play they could hope for right there.
Yeah, they do get a couple kills. It looks like they'll get a tower off the back of this as well. So that's going to be pretty nice, evening up the gold a little bit, but at the end of the day, 100 Thieves did still stop the dragon stacking. They have really powerful scaling on their side. They have a significant gold advantage. We can watch this one more time, and it's just kind of too little too late. The dragon is already secured here. Dignitas decide they want to look for the fight anyway. Jensen had landed a really nice shock blast onto the backline. Both Doublelift and Quid did get hit by that, so they are chunked incredibly low. The first kill is over there onto Busio, and now this is fast forward quite a lot as Jensen and Diamond were looking to chase. Jensen forced to flash over the wall there as Diamond was trying to retreat, and Rich finds an angle to be able to go forward, and meanwhile Tomo knocks down Quid, so they're able to get a couple back here.
Hey, and that's shutdown gold for Dignitas.
Yeah.
They're picking up some gold back on the map, and that 5,000 gold lead that 100 Thieves just had has been shrunk just slightly down to a little bit more than 3,000. But sadly for Dignitas, it's still a large lead for composition that needs to be powerful now. It is the mid game. This is when they are the ones who are supposed to feel the strongest.
And now these champions that do kind of have that X factor are really going to have to step up. You've got to nail your poke. You've got to be perfect with your gauges. You have to really be on point when you are playing from a deficit like this, but it's Busio finding Diamond. Diamond, though, could be in trouble.
That's going to be the depth charge into the back line. Jensen got a lot of attention, but it's going to be trade of support for support as Rich, the top laner. So they fight in the mid lane, a little bit of poke back and forth, but it's going to be the kill onto Maokai, and that's a Shurima shuffle pull back in from Quid. It's going to annihilate Dignitas. No trade onto Quid. He goes golden. Rich tries to get one back. The Croc does bite down onto the bird, but still dies regardless.
Yeah, they're going to be able to knock them all down. It's the ace for 100 Thieves. Devastating Dignitas in the jungle. They're already up 5K. Now they're going to get the Baron. This should just about do it for 100 Thieves. We can watch this one more time. The hook in from Busio gets himself in a little bit of trouble, but he had the depth charge across multiple members. Jensen and Tomo both got knocked up. That bought some time. Ssumday was winning out on the fight on the side against Rich, and as Santorin goes forward, look how much damage he's actually taking from both Doublelift as well as Quid, and then Quid finds his moment. He knows the flashes are down on both the carries. He has his up. He goes in, and he finds a big play there. Does eventually fall as his stopwatch expires, but that's a great play from Quid, turning the fight heavily in the favor of 100 Thieves, and now with the Baron, it's 6.6K in the lead. They're closing in on those third item spikes. In fact, Ssumday already has his. He's going to be an absolute brick wall in the top lane.
That's going to be untouchable for all the members here of Dignitas. The Red Bull Baron buff now, 400 Thieves, as they easily can push someone in. And look at that. Closer just shrugs off any damage there from Dignitas. He's like, okay, cool. I had my passive up. I barely took any of your damage.
I mean, that was even the ult from Tomo, and that's pretty problematic, you know, losing one of those big teamfight tools here. It is an AP Varus. You depend a lot on that, but you can see some of the poke landing on a Doublelift. It's going to be harder and harder, though, as Doublelift is going towards that Bloodthirster third, and that's where your poke really stops mattering as long as he has access to a minion wave or a jungle camp. They're trying to get the bush here. The hook's going to come in.
Lands onto Diamond. Diamond shrugs it off for now. A little bit of poke back onto Doublelift, but like you said, look at that. Goes right onto the Raptors, going to heal up. So the rest of 100 Thieves already have this push in top lane. They can all roam to take down this tier 2.
Yeah, going to be moving back and forth between top and mid. They have the push in on top. Too many Dignitas members were committed towards mid lane, trying to push off Doublelift from that mid lane tier 2, but this is really difficult, and somebody's going to face check.
Trying for something, but it's the tanky members of 100 Thieves you're going into. The flash is away, the depth charge onto Tomo. They can pull back in Rich, and Rich has to slice and dice away. A lot of damage onto Dignitas. Even if nobody fell, the turrets will.
Yeah, the turrets will fall as Dignitas does get chunked down there. The ghost as well from Tomo as well as the flash from Santorin are expended, and they're going to have to get out of there. Doublelift and picking up even more gold. He's got to be close to the BT now. Has 1,500 in pocket, so is very close to having that completion. They will go back, secure another dragon here for themselves. And it always feels so nice being able to grab those Hextech dragons because the ability haste, the attack speed, even in the individual dragons is really useful for each and every carry.
Especially looking at Quid too, you know? Looking at him right now, he's working on, I'm not exactly sure which item he wants to get first because he's got that alternator. He's got the
garage sale.
He's got the garage sale going on, so we'll see exactly which one he wants to get first. But regardless, they're already at this powerful point, 400 Thieves, and Dignitas, they're now 8,000 gold behind. It is 26.5 minutes into the game. Their poke is getting shrugged off by 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
All seems nearly lost for Dignitas.
I mean, this is a pretty disappointing game from Dignitas for me because this is really reminiscent, I think, more of their spring split where there was a lot of games where it felt like they were willing to just roll over, they were willing to sit back, allow their opponents to dictate the pace of the game, and hope to maybe capitalize on mistakes. I feel like Dignitas this split has been more proactive thus far, has been more finding windows of opportunity on their own, but Rich fell behind early and no one else was really making anything happen. They just kind of allowed 100 Thieves to take the driver's seat to create a massive advantage for themselves. The only thing Dignitas really earned was these early 2 dragons, but that's going to mean nothing now as they are so far away from Seoul. And 100 Thieves have everything in their favor and are looking to cruise towards their 3rd win of the split.
And they're suffocating Dignitas at this point. nothing is being picked up. That 8,000 gold lead I was just talking about for 100 Thieves, nearly 9,000 now. And they haven't even gotten any more turrets. They haven't gotten any more kills. It's purely been off all the farm in the jungle. They've been taking away from Dignitas and denying them from picking up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be tough here for Dignitas. We'll see if they can find anything to try to turn this one around. But the BT is completed. Zazonius as well and Quid. So Quid, pretty defensive itemization here. Diamond going to look for closer.
Looking for closer. They're getting a lot of damage. He's nearly burst down, but with the TP coming in, could be the turnaround. As 100 Thieves have him corralled. They're slicing dice away yet again, but the poke landing on a double that time, actually hurting 100 Thieves.
Yeah, Doublelift eats a lot of that poke there. They can't chase through that corridor, so it will push them back. But again, not enough to actually finish them off, not enough to follow forward. Dignitas are trying to look for these engages onto these tanky members. They actually almost did burst down closer. They forced out his flash, but not quite able to get him.
They are getting to these points with some of their items where they actually can start hurting some of these things. Look at Jensen, has gotten that last Whisper item with the Sorellas already. They've even got that Ripmaker for Tomo, so it actually has a little bit more that he can do, and it's going to survive some of these extended trades. But you have to still kill someone. You still have to find someone, and constantly using all that damage that you have onto someone like Closer, who can nearly shrug it off every single time. They got to get this on the Doublelift. If they can pick off Quid or Doublelift before any fight breaks out, that is going to be the one hope Dignitas still have left.
Yeah, that will be the hope, but it'll be very difficult to actually find those picks, you know, unless they really misposition. You're always going to want to have Closer, Busio, Ssumday ahead of you in these fights. I will say if they can have fights away from minion waves, the Bloodthirster is going to be a lot less effective. You know, have a fight over around one of these neutral objectives, potentially land a lot of poke on Doublelift, maybe dissuade 100 Thieves from even committing to the fight, try to get an objective bounty, try to do something from there. But it is really dependent upon mistakes from 100 Thieves at this point, and Closer may have found Diamond.
Oh no, Diamond out of position, burst down pretty easily too. And without that engage tool that you can rely on, there's no pick that you could hope for on to Doublelift and Quid outside of the poke from Tomo and Jensen.
Yeah, gonna be tough now. It is a 5v4, the massive gold advantage here. 100 Thieves gonna be pushing in.
Looking for it, will die potentially. It's gonna be the Nature's Grasp with the Dominus not popped just yet. They got a lot of damage onto the backline onto Quid, but Rich actually taken down. He didn't even get a pop the ult. No, he did, but he still died regardless. And with 3v4, the tree having to go back to base, 100 Thieves, it looked a little dicey there for a second, but they still come out on top.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they are gonna be able to at least get some kills. You know, they do just trade that 1-for-1. They don't knock down the turret though, so well defended, you have to say, by Dignitas.
But all you have to do is go to the Baron. Exactly. And with that started up,
pretty low though. This is a little bit dicey. Look at Quid's health. Look at Ssumday's health. I mean, if they can land the poke,
they're poking out, but they don't realize that they were just committed to that Baron. So it is taken by 100 Thieves. As Dignitas try to go for the Solar Flare, it does get Doublelift into the air. He goes. Nobody on top of him just yet. Waiting for the ult, waiting for anything. The poke will land, but everyone will get out from 100 Thieves.
Yeah, 100 Thieves gonna be able to get out of there unscathed. Dignitas knew they had to chase, knew they had to look for something, but just couldn't really find a proper engage. They throw the ulti out over towards Doublelift. They do force out the Featherstorm, but he still had cleanse, he still had flash. He was never really in any danger. And Dignitas just gonna have to settle for scraps. We'll see if they can get any vision here around the dragon where we're likely to have our next contest, but Diamond too far out.
Too far out with the Hex Gate as well. They can chase that down anywhere. This is not your territory. You might feel safe in the jungle, but it's all 100 Thieves. They bought up everything. They have a monopoly here, and Diamond, you're getting hit by the wall, and as they go over the wall looking for Rich, the Rich will be able to get away.
Yeah, Rich will get out of there with the stun, slicing dice to safety. It's tough though, you know, when you are the support and your team is losing this heavily, you have to be the one face checking brushes. You have to be one getting out on the map and trying to establish vision so you can have some hope at a comeback play. But unfortunately for him, he's easily caught up by Ssumday. Does cost him his flash and his life. And now third dragon going the way of 100 Thieves. They're definitely not the fastest team at closing out these games, but they have been steadily moving this game further and further in their favor. They're pushing through mid, they're pushing through bot, and there is a wave stacking up towards top lane as well. So 100 Thieves have the waves moving in the right direction here, and they have the Baron for 130. This has got to be where they crack the base.
Every lane is about to get attacked at the same time. Mid and bot are going to be the two first. So they get a lot of damage there. Solar Flare dodged away by Closer, and with the Cannon Minion buffed up by the Baron, that should be topple here any moment, and Ssumday should take down mid too.
Yeah, Jensen trying to push him off, dissuade him from going any farther forward, but Ssumday looking to potentially turn that around.
Got another dash away from the ult. Jensen barely alive, and the root comes in from Santorin. But what can you do here as Dignitas? They just don't have that angle. They're so far behind. 12,000 gold. 3 Hextech Dragons picked up by 100 Thieves. And they're going to lose 2 inhibitors without barely a fight.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. They're going to see if they can TP back in as well. TPing over towards top lane. Going to try to triple and hit them, but they're already knocking down the Nexus turrets, and the only angle for Dignitas might just be going next.
Yeah, it might be a GG go next, but Rich is on the other side looking for the flank as they already lost the tree. It's way too late. They just push you away, Rich. You might have flashed on top of them, but we knew this game was over for a while. 100 Thieves, they've had the lead, and they're now making sure they take every Dignitas member down before they topple the Nexus. They'll, not get Jensen, but they'll still pick up the win.
It's a quadra kill for Doublelift to finish things off. Nearly had the Penta, but the Nexus went down, so they couldn't secure it. And this one was all 100 Thieves all the time. A solid game here from Quid and from 100 Thieves overall. You know, it was a slow closeout based on the massive advantage that they had, but there was no reason for them to really try to go crazy, to really try to push the pace, because it just felt like Dignitas was allowing them to have everything. Dignitas was not really contesting early. After Rich got killed, in the top lane, he was kind of pushed in. Jensen had been getting pressured pretty heavily by Closer and Quid. He was on the back foot very early. There was a good 2v2 kill from Tomo and Diamond down on the bot side, but right after that, Doublelift gets a solo kill on Tomo, and it just felt like everything was going 100 Thieves' ways. And it was a really nice game for them.
It was. It was a close, not even a close game, what am I saying? It was a slow game. And it was their game all the way through. Like you said, it really, to me, boils down to that 1v1 kill bot lane. Doublelift outplaying Tomo. It just felt like there was no gas left in the tank for Dignitas. They attempted a couple plays, but by then, it was a little too late. 100 Thieves had gotten all these advantages. They had utilized that. They had gotten the advantages by themselves from the lane. It wasn't even off the back of Closer getting these leads for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, right? Here is this final fight once more, but to me, as you say, the game was decided long before this point. I just think Dignitas really lacked any proactivity in this game, and that was kind of the biggest issue. We didn't see really any attempts at ganks from Santorin. We didn't see any early engages or setups kind of around these objectives that were contested. They did take the 2 free dragons as trade, but we needed to see them being more proactive on the map. We needed to see them trying to set up plays, trying to make things happen, and not allowing 100 Thieves to just kind of drive the bus, so to speak, from start to finish. And that was really the problem, unfortunately, in this game. As Dignitas, a bit of regression, it feels like, to start off week number 3. Again, it did feel more like a spring split Dignitas game than a summer split Dignitas game, because I do think they've been looking better.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have been looking better. Just that game was not really the showing of that case. It was 100 Thieves getting these leads, utilizing the solo lanes that they had, the 2v2 in the bot lane. Closer's kind of like, cool, I don't really have to do much this game because everyone's getting leads on their own.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely nice. He did put that pressure on around mid lane, had the one flash for flash play towards Jensen, then forced another flash, when they did look for the ultis, but it wasn't really much required, it felt like, because it was so squarely in their favor.
Yeah, it was squarely in their favor, constantly in their lead. And to cap off a month of Pride, the LCS invites you to join us on Friday to celebrate. Fans in attendance can party with us after the show with food trucks, giveaways, a tie-dye station, and more. So make sure you join in for the Pride celebration. That's going to be a lot of fun. I know that I'll enjoy that. I'm going to be here. I'm going to make sure that I'm here for that day. But I also hear that we are joining Closer and Busio at the lounge for our Verizon post-game interview.
That is true. We are joined by Closer and Busio after your recent victory. I did want to, so prior to this, you guys were actually talking about Quid in this game.
I should have saved the question for when we were on camera.
Raz was wasting all the good stories before we were on camera. But go through his play, especially around the Baron play that you brought up, Busio, because it sounds like he had a really great game.
Well, the entire game, he was just kind of owning mid. Every time I look mid, Jayce is just 1 HP, no flash, so that was chill. And then at the Baron, I'm timing all the sums, and I'm like, none of them have flash except for Varus, but Quid just went, and Azir insect the Varus, he just knew he had no flash. That 6th sense, so pretty alpha from him.
He's like, I do not care.
Yeah. What's it been like? Because obviously he and you guys didn't have the start you would have wanted last week. What's it been like integrating him onto the team?
Actually, it's been pretty weird because, obviously Nuktak played first week, and then Quid played with, jet lag, and then he played like 3 days of scrims, and then he came. I think he was very nervous too, so like he really didn't play like himself. But this week our practice has been very good, and our head coach actually arrived yesterday.
Yeah.
So the team completed finally. So that's good. And yeah, Quid as a player, I think he was like very nervous first week, but I think we all know that he's very good. Even though he couldn't like really show. I think he will get better every game.
Actually, I kind of wanted to know more about that because for a little bit I was like, wait, that's Jungle Juice on stage. I'm sure he does not want to be on stage. Like, what was the process like? Because I know you guys have coaches, though one of them was playing in your game, right? What was that process like? Was he there remotely, like communicating to you guys when you were going through scrims? Like, that part is usually something that no one really thinks about because that's scrim dominated. That's the only real time you see an impact of like a coaching staff. What was that process like for you guys?
I mean, we were just like reviewing from Discord all the time, like microphone issues, like stream issues, like also it's like 4 a.m. in Korea when we are screaming, so he's like staying up late, ruining his sleep schedule. It's been very hard, honestly. Like we deal with it fine. We got some wins here and there, but I think we will show who's the real 100 Thieves is towards the playoffs.
I like that. And actually, I didn't get to ask you this. Maybe it was already asked you before, but you reuniting with Ssumday.
Yeah.
That's an inbuilt synergy that you guys had prior. Like, what was that process like immediately? Were you guys like, oh no, this is just literally what it was before? Or was there like because there was some time when he went to EG and all that, where you had to like readjust?
This off-season was wild, man. I never thought like we're gonna reunite this fast. Like we were really reunited after one split. So that wasn't a long time off without him. When he came back to the team, it was like he was coming back home. You know?
Yeah.
So our synergy was obviously not 100%, but like we remembered a lot of the stuff we did together. So
that makes sense.
It was good.
Nice. Last question. I just want to know, like, now that you guys are coming together, what type of team do you think you're going to be? Because I think like previously, obviously it was partially it was meta dependent, but you were like incredibly bot lane focused. Is that what it's going to look like going forward? Or with Ssumday joining, are you going to go topside a little bit more? What's that going to look like?
I don't know. It's just kind of like whatever we feel like at the time. It depends on the champs we have picked. We don't really have like a set style that we've set yet. I think that's only needed if you're not able to play other styles. But right now it's start season, just experimenting, just playing everything.
I think we are just focused on being a good team right now. Like, you see me playing Sejuani and getting everything. you know that's something good, you know? So I'm happy that like we are just focused on being a good team, not like everyone individually shining, you know? So.
No, that's good. Well, all the best. I'm really happy to see you guys like coming together in this game. And on the other side of the break, we have C9 versus Immortals is next. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
Doublelift and Tomo are fighting it out. There's no flash. We got to get the damage. The flash in from Doublelift. What a play to take down Tomo.
Ssumday now looking to try to turn things around as Diamond stepped too far.
A little bit too far, but maybe they wanted to bait that win in because they got a lot of damage and they found the poke onto Quid. All out onto Rich, but Rich gonna die to Ssumday as they look for the poke onto Doublelift. It will be traded 2 for 2 at the moment.
Is that?
1 HP.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Fizz. Can you cover me?
Yeah. No flash, no flash.
Let's go, Nash. Let's go, Nash.
Nice, Quid.
Good.
Good job, bro.
Who said you can't teach an old dog new tricks?
Typical beginner's mistake.
Yes, they all start from the outside.
So, will we help him?
What else? Here, try it with Red Bull.
Red Bull gives you wings.